Joining me on the NewsHour tonight is former Minister for Information and Technology, Mr. Rajeev Chandrasekhar. Mr. Rajeev Chandrasekhar, thank you very much. The question everybody is asking, you waded into the Elon Musk EVM controversy. The Congress party says that you seem to be totally, avoiding any scrutiny of EVMs. Not even willing to open this up for investigations after, doubts have been raised in several quarters. That's what Rahul Gandhi says about your statement on Elon Musk's tweet.
No, Navika, I certainly wasn't thinking of Rahul Gandhi or any of the Congress postdoctoral students in electronics and technology when I responded to Elon Musk. Elon made a statement which was, I think, in the context of his own experiences in the US election system, where they use a very different type of an electronic voting machine. And he commented that EVMs are not a good idea. And he was obviously basing that on his experience or what he had heard from Robert Kennedy about the US elections. And I went on to clarify that that was way too much of a sweeping generalization, because certainly I don't believe, while Elon Musk is known for SpaceX and Tesla, I don't think he knows too much about the Indian EVM. So I said it was a sweeping generalization, and the Indian EVM has been designed and architected to be a very secure piece of hardware that is disconnected from and unconnected to any outside network, therefore not providing anybody a way into the system, and that it is programmed once in the factory and then not reprogrammable. So I made a very technical response to him, and I said, in the event he chooses, I am happy to do a tutorial on why the Indian EVM is very different from what the Americans and Western Europeans use. Of course, the Elon's tweet was jumped on by our Congress scientific advisors, including Rahul Gandhi, to which anyway I have no answer, because their knowledge far outstrips what I know from science and electronics and technology. And they, of course, live in the realm of Jupiter's escape velocity and potatoes turning gold and so on and so forth. So I can't respond to what they think of this, but I didn't wade into an argument as much as I clarified to Elon that I think he was speaking to facts that he was not aware of or he did not know about.
Well, so Mr. Chandrasekhar, the question today everybody is asking, and clearly when you talk about EVMs, I'm sure you would have thought that any mention of the word EVM and politics would break back home in India, because this is fertile ground for the EVM controversy. Are you surprised that this has been picked up politically and your statement has been, looked at just under a microscope of the highest intensity to look at whether you're defending EVMs or have something to hide as far as Indian EVMs are concerned?
No, look, Navika, I think it is pretty clear that the recent events where the people of India have given Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji a historic third mandate, and have also at the same time given the Congress party under Rahul Gandhi a third successive defeat in the Indian elections, has really created an incentive amongst Congress leaders to try and distract their followers and their supporters. One by one. Mr. Karge first came out and said, no, they don't have a mandate. And when that didn't fly, now they will talk about EVMs. And when that doesn't fly, they'll move on to the other things. So I think this is not necessarily to do with EVMs as much as their desire to keep their flock intact and their flock distracted from what is the third successive defeat under Rahul Gandhi. Look, that is not a mean achievement. Even when some people in politics try very hard, that is an achievement that is difficult to achieve. That you take the oldest national party in the country and lead them to the third successive national election defeat. that takes some doing, and I think Rahul Gandhi is certainly interested in making sure that his people are distracted from that fact, and the EVMs come in handy. And you know, the end of the elections are. Election Commission themselves said, I think EVM, the controversy will now will die till the next elections. And I think Elon Musk inadvertently has given a little bit more fuel to the Congress party, and it's, like I said, heavily scientifically advanced minds to comment again about the EVMs. And look, Navika, you know that the Supreme Court has gone into this issue, and the Supreme Court has already ruled on this issue. So I think these are all noises and static that are deliberately being put out there to continue this this pattern of lies and misinformation that somehow keeps them excited and happy even when they are facing their third defeat, or when they have faced their third defeat in elections.
Well, so let me ask you. You say you are an engineer, you understand all of this. The other so-called scientific advisors in the Congress. But there is another engineer who's come in, Sam Pitroda. He says he's an engineer and he knows EVMs can be hacked and it's best to return to paper ballots. How would you respond to him?
No, look, I don't want to, certainly I don't want to spoil my day today by engaging in some nonsense that, yet another nonsense that Sam Pitroda puts out there. He's hardly, I mean, by the admission of the Congress leadership themselves, they have disassociated with him, from him. And he certainly, I mean, while I believe once upon a time he was somebody relevant in the technology space, he certainly, by the own admission of the Congress party, he's certainly not relevant to today's conversation. And I'm not being arrogant, or I'm not trying to be rude to him, but certainly you know what he has said, and his own take on many issues are at 180 degrees divergent from the values and what people of India espouse. Whether it is Ram Mandir, whether it is terrorism attacks, whether it is Pakistan's terrorism, whether it is the 1984 riots, Sam Pitroda is hardly somebody who has distinguished himself by being on the right side of history, or indeed being on the right side of the truth. So I would not want to get into a debate, certainly not with him. But and certainly this is not an issue of a debate at all. Elon Musk said something, I have countered him, I have explained to him that the situation in India and the design and architecture of the Indian EVM is very different from what he has seen and experienced in the US. If the Congress party wants to continue to perpetuate this myth about the EVM, more power to them, and the people of India will keep rejecting them.
But let me tell you, Uddhav Sena's one particular case of Ravinder Waikar, where votes polled stopped, the counting stopped around the 18th or the 19th round, and the counting process was stopped, and in the last round Waikar was declared a winner. They are now saying that this whole controversy brings back to light the fact that EVMs one way or another have been hacked, and they will not allow the member of parliament from there to take oath, because it's actually the Uddhav Sena guy who should have won. How do you look at all of these political developments that have taken place ever since this tweet from Elon Musk came about?
No, Navika, I don't know if Elon intended to now spark off every losing party's claim that they lost because of EVMs, including the election in Mumbai. I don't think that was his intention. He was talking purely from a technical point of view that EVMs are hackable, and he was talking about it in the context of what he understands EVMs to be in the US. And we have clarified that the EVMs in India cannot be hacked, or are not like the EVMs in the US, and are designed to be secure. Now, everybody who has lost in these elections, including myself, if we start now using this as an opportunity to lay claim to either a re-election or a recount, or allege that the elections didn't go in our favor, I think that is extending this a bit too much. I mean, I can start making the argument as a losing candidate in these elections that my elections too, if 8,000 votes had come in my favor, I would have won, and therefore it is the EVM that was hacked by my opponent in Tirunelveli. These are bizarre, Navika. Look, if any losing candidate today is aggrieved by what he believes is something that is wrong or is ultra vires the law, he has a way of approaching the EC, he has a way of having an election petition in the courts, and the courts can look at all the evidence that the losing candidate presents and rule on it. Why all this innuendo, conspiracy theories? If the so-called person in Mumbai has a real case, he should file an election petition. He should present the facts and the evidence before the court, and the court will decide the election petition. Since the election is now over and the matter is now to be adjudicated by the courts of India rather than the EC. So people don't want to do that, but they want to rely on these healthy doses of misinformation causing chaos and confusion in the minds of people and are happy with that. That is unfortunately the case. That is unfortunately something that Rahul Gandhi has pioneered, and most of his colleagues in the I.N.D.I.A alliance seem to be enjoying doing.
Well, so Rajeev, Rahul Gandhi is not backing off anytime soon. He says when democratic institutions are captured, the only safeguard lies in electoral processes that are transparent to the public. EVM is currently a black box. EC must either ensure complete transparency of the machines and processes or abolish them. How do you respond?
Look, I mean, it is clear, Navika, Rahul Gandhi and the people, the parties in the I.N.D.I.A alliance, the dynasts, want to take India back into the good old days when paper votes, booth capturing, all of those things that their forefathers and grandfathers and the long line in their dynasties enjoyed grabbing power with. And unfortunately, India doesn't want to go back. We want to go forward. If there are any issues with the EVMs, it is not certainly to go back to the bad days of booth capturing and paper votes. If there are some issues that they know, apart from making these generalized conspiracy theories, they should put the facts in front of the EC, they should put the facts in front of a court of law and say, here is our evidence that the EVMs are tamperable, that the EVMs are not secure and the EVMs can be misused. Instead of relying on these vague sort of conspiracy theories and just with the intention of creating doubt around not just institutions, doubts about the process. Remember, this is the man who does not hesitate to go abroad and just pass wide sweeping generalizations about Indian judiciary, Indian constitution being at risk, India's democracy being at risk, Indian institutions being at risk, whereas it is his party, his family that governed India and that presided over the corrosion and the capture of every institution, including the Supreme Court. So I don't know what they want to prove. If they want to make a point that the EVMs are technically vulnerable, then I think that piece of evidence they should present to the EC, to a court, and take it forward instead of all of this political drama that they have become so good at.
Okay, before I let you go, short description of Elon Musk, Rajeev Chandrasekhar style.
No, look, I think he's one of the brightest minds in the world, in the technology world. He is certainly a person who has created an absolutely new trailblazing type of entrepreneurship. He thinks really outside the box, even beyond outside the box. He is pushing the boundaries of what people thought was possible and impossible. And I think he's certainly amongst the greatest icons the technology ecosystem and the technology world has seen and will ever see. I mean, we have Steve Jobs, you have people like Elon Musk. These are people who come once in a lifetime, once in a generation, and I certainly think Elon Musk is amongst them in terms of the pantheon of technology stars.
And Rahul Gandhi?
I certainly don't want to comment on that. It's that Navika, it's for the people of India to comment on Rahul Gandhi. I don't want to bring my personal views about him, and I certainly don't think he's worthy of my comment.
Are you losing your fighting touch after elections, Rajeev?
No, not at all. I am not losing my fighting. I just don't want to get started on commenting on a person like Rahul Gandhi today, because we are talking about Elon Musk, we are talking about technology, we are talking about the EVMs, and I'm happy to have an interview with you anytime you think it's useful for a longer conversation about Rahul Gandhi and the future of the Congress.
Well, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Rajeev Chandrasekhar, for joining me on the NewsHour tonight.